Hello and welcome to this video, 3 things you should know about recovering emotionally after a miscarriage. My name is Rosalind Bubb and I'm a therapist. I specialise in supporting women who've had a miscarriage. I've had 12 myself and so I know what it's like. I know how hard it is. And I also know ways to make things feel easier and less upsetting, and that's what I offer. I support anyone who's been affected by miscarriage in 2 ways. Through videos and audios which you can use at any time of day or night, and by working with you individually using Skype and FaceTime from anywhere around the world. If you're watching this video, you may well have had a miscarriage, and if that's the case, my heart goes out to you. I know how tough this can feel. And I also know that you can feel better than you're feeling now, and that that's not commonly known about. And I want to make it easier for you. So I'm really glad you're watching. In a few minutes I'm going to talk to you about 3 things which it's really useful to know about to help you recover emotionally after a miscarriage. I didn't know about any of these things myself, and most of the women I work with don't know about these things either, and they've said that they've found it really helpful to know about these things. But before we get on to that, I want to introduce you to tapping. Tapping is a powerful self-help tool. Studies have shown that it's very effective and it's used by several million people around the world. I'm a therapist and there are 2 main self-help tools which I use with the women I help. One is TAT, Tapas Acupressure Technique, and the other is tapping. And I'm going to demonstrate tapping to you as I talk to you now. The full name for tapping is EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, but many people think of it just as tapping. It involves tapping lightly with your fingertips on energy points around your face and hands. If you haven't come across this before, I know that it can look really peculiar and seem pretty unlikely, but it's very effective at helping you feel more peaceful and more relaxed, even when there's very upsetting things going on in your life. Tapping really can help to change the way you feel. Many people find that it's soothing and comforting. Because of that, I'm going to invite you to try it and to experiment. I'm going to invite you to copy me and to tap along with me now as you watch this video. It'll give you a taste of what tapping's like and how you could benefit from it. And my guess is that you'll feel better than you do now at the end of it if you do try it. Now, there are lots of different tapping points we could use like this. But to keep it really simple for this video, I'm going to suggest we use just 2 points, the side of your hand and your collarbone. So I'll show you those in more detail now. So the first one is the side of your hand here, and we call that the karate chop point. So if you're going to do a karate chop, you would use that part of your hand. It's this fleshy part here. So you can tap on that and you can swap hands at any point. And the second point is the collarbone point here. So these are your collarbones, they're long bones along here, which most people can feel, but not everybody can, and there are knobbly bits on the end, so we're going to tap on those. And it's about where a man would knot his tie. So those are the 2 points we're going to use. Now we've reached the part which you'll find in all of my videos, where I ask you please to take full responsibility for your own physical and emotional well-being as we tap. And that's because with tapping it can be a little bit like peeling the layers off an onion and stuff can come up. And so if you've been under the care of a doctor or a therapist, or if you suspect that maybe you should be, you might like to see someone before you use this video. So now I'm going to invite you to copy me as I tap, and we can tap together, and it can be soothing and gentle. And we can talk about the 3 things which you should know to help you recover emotionally after a miscarriage. If you've had a miscarriage, you've suffered a loss. You're going through a grieving process, and that takes time. It might take quite a lot longer than you think, and possibly longer than the people around you think that it will take too, and they may not understand. A grieving process takes time. There's been research carried out by Drexel University in Philadelphia in the States, and it found that most women take at least 4 months to feel normal again after a miscarriage. The researchers identified a number of stages. Initially, there's a stage when we feel shock. It can be a big shock to have a miscarriage after you've been pregnant. It can cause a very big change in your state of mind. Changes take place in your body too, including your hormones, which can take weeks to go back to normal. And some of what you've experienced can be very unpleasant too, and that can be shocking in itself. Then after the shock, there's a time of adjustment. It's a big change that's happened in your life, and the implications don't become clear all at once. They unfold gradually. The reality of no longer being pregnant sinks in over time, and as that happens, research shows that the intensity of the grief we're feeling can actually go up rather than down. And so consequently, feelings of grief can reach a peak at about 4 or 6 weeks after your miscarriage, and most women don't feel normal again for at least 4 to 6 months. I often used to feel after about 3 months as if a switch had been flicked in my head and I just felt different. Now, I don't know where you are within this process, but if you don't feel back to normal again, the research shows that you're not alone and that this is normal. You might be feeling as if you should be over this by now, or perhaps the people around you think that, but research shows that that's not the case. Have compassion for where you are in the grieving process, and know that what you're feeling is normal, and give yourself time. You're grieving. After my first and third miscarriage, I felt as if my heart was breaking. The grief was enormous, and you might feel like that. Research shows that for many women, the grief after having a miscarriage can be as strong as after losing someone close to you who's been walking around in your life. The grief can be that intense. Some people don't believe this, or they find it hard to imagine. Or they may be thinking you shouldn't be so upset, or that you should be over it by now. But it's just not the case. Grief is a process and it takes time. And it makes no difference how far into the pregnancy you were either. Even if you were only pregnant for a number of days or weeks, the grief can still be very intense. If this is the case for you, I want to say that these are really valid feelings. Be kind to yourself and treat yourself gently. It's okay to feel like this, and you're not alone. Having a miscarriage is not a pleasant thing to go through, and it's not necessarily quick. It can be a lot to deal with. Perhaps you saw and felt things that you don't want to remember. Perhaps you feel haunted by distressing memories. I certainly did, and I know that many people do. Depending on what else you've experienced prior to this could be severe. If you've experienced bereavements or traumas in the months or years preceding, it's possible that emotions from those events might be being triggered by the miscarriage, which can make it even more difficult to cope with. I wanted to flag this up in case you are experiencing this. I want you to know that it's possible to do something about this and that there are people who can help. When I'm working with my clients, we frequently take care of upsetting memories. We take away the strong, painful emotions so that they're not upsetting anymore. The techniques we use, tapping and TAT, are safe, straightforward and painless, and you don't have to relive any of it. For example, before working together, the memory can be very present, as if it's right in front of you. It can be intrusive, haunting and upsetting. But after we've tapped together or used TAT, the emotions subside. The memory feels a long way away and you feel disconnected from it. People say it's like watching it on television. You know it happened and it will never be a pleasant thing to watch, but it doesn't hurt anymore. When we take the strong emotions away from this kind of painful memory, it makes the grieving process simpler and easier to cope with. If you think you might find this helpful, it's okay to reach out for some support. Would you like some support to make it easier for you to get over all of this as quickly and gently as possible? I've had 12 miscarriages and I know what it's like, but I can truthfully say now that it feels as if I haven't had any at all. Really, it feels as if I've had none. The miscarriages don't hurt and I don't have any regrets. But I didn't get to that point overnight, and I did do it by using these techniques, which I'd like to share with you. I would like to offer some suggestions about ways you can move forwards towards feeling more peaceful, more happy and more like yourself again. The first thing I'd like to suggest is that you remember the 3 things we've talked about in this video. Remember that the grief is real, it takes time to move through it, and you've been through a great deal, and you may like some support in dealing with that. And so please be kind and gentle to yourself and treat yourself with compassion. This is a big thing, and it's okay and it's normal to be feeling whatever way you do. The second thing I'd like to suggest is that you try one of my tapping videos. There's a link to a free video in the information below this one, or you can search for this title, How to Feel Better After a Miscarriage. If you watch this video and tap along with me, I think you'll feel more peaceful and you'll get a sense that this is a tool which you can use for yourself anytime you want to change the way you feel. And the third thing I'd like to suggest is that you check out my miscarriage support programme. It's a series of videos and audios which I've created to support you in this journey. You can use them to help you feel better any time of day or night, wherever you are in the world. They take you step by step through all the different aspects of recovering emotionally after a miscarriage, including how to make it easier to cope at work, taking care of yourself, and what to do if you're blaming yourself for your miscarriage. The thousands of women who've used these videos say that they found them really helpful, and it's something that you can do for yourself to make this experience easier. If you'd like to know more about the Miscarriage Support Programme, you can find out about it on the webpage, which is www.miscarriage-support.com. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to be in contact with me, please leave a comment below, or you can go to my webpage. I hope you found this useful. Take very good care of yourself, and I wish you all the very best. Thank you.